Your station, 101 FM, with Saturday Sports Scene.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Scene for another week. Kevin Braysher here with you as always, taking you through what is a massive week in sport. We got a massive show planned for you today. Joining me here on the show this morning, the founding father of Sports Scene, Mr. Darren Madigan. Darren, welcome to Sports Scene.
Good morning, everybody. What a week we've had in sport. We've had Origin, punches thrown, having all sorts of good fun. I feel like it's back to the old days again, and we shouldn't forget Kari Webb winning the golf tournament last weekend. She goes straight into this weekend's LPGA Major in a lot of good form. She's picked up 4 ranking points. She's gone from 12th to 8th now, so she's back in the top 10. And when we talk about the scores, I'll let you into another surprise as well that's happening. So a lot of great stuff happening. We've got the tennis on. As I said last week, it's just great to be a couch potato these days.
Absolutely. For the next 6 weeks or so, it's just crazy, all the stuff that's happening. And, you know, it's a perfect time for us here on Sports Scene. We love it. And there's a full panel here today to discuss it all with us. From the AFL Queensland Hall of Fame and the Southport Sharks, Mr. Craig Crowley. Craig, welcome to Sports Scene.
Kev, great to be here. Spent a lot of time out of town of late, so yeah, it's good to be back.
It is. It's good to have you back. And also joining us, a man who's been out of studio a bit, Mr. Lee Hanatscheck from the Australian Karting Association. Lee, welcome back to the studio.
Thanks, Kev. Great to be with you on this fine Saturday morning.
It's great to have you here with us, mate. And also, Mr. Old Faithful from the QRL, Ethan James, as always, is still here with us.
Mr. Old Faithful. Not that old.
Not that old. Definitely faithful, though. It's good to be back. I've got a bit of company on this side of the panel this morning, so feeling good.
Keep you nice and warm over there. We'll jump straight into it. A massive show planned today, so we'll jump straight into the results and shoot through them for you. In the NRL Round 13 last night, the Roosters 38 over Parramatta, 24 at Parramatta Stadium. The big news out of that one was Jared Hayne going off with a hamstring injury. Looks like he'll be gone for 4 to 6 weeks, which will almost certainly put him out of the rest of the State of Origin series. So that's the big story out of that one. In the AFL Round 11 last night, Essendon 11-11-77 defeat Carlton 10-12-72 at the MCG, Craig.
Yeah, it's amazing. You hear it a lot of times, the game of two halves. Carlton well in front in half-time, then the Bombers coming back. Some significant moves, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Absolutely.
In the Super Rugby last night, round 17, the Brumbies all but sewed up top spot in the Australian Conference with a bonus point win over the Rebels, 39-17 at Canberra Stadium. And there's another game tomorrow night with the Waratahs and the Force, and that'll be the last one for a few weeks for the Australian teams at the Super 15 as they take a break with the Lions tour. Of course, swinging into gear in the next couple of weeks, and it got underway on Wednesday against the Force with the Lions getting a big win there. Also in the basketball overnight game, 1 of 4, Australia up against China in their series. China got the first win, 61-55 over Australia over at Perth Arena. Game 2 is on Sunday at the Western Australian Basketball Centre. That will be game 2 of 4 against China. Then after that, they head over to China for the rest of the series. Darren, there is a lot of news happening from around the world in sport, and you've got all the international results for us.
Oh, goodness me. It's all over the joint, isn't it? We've got, in case you haven't heard, during the week, the lightning bolt, the same bolt was actually beaten. To be fair, though, he's coming back from a hamstring injury, around a 9.95, but he was beaten by Justin Gatlin in Rome in a Diamond League event. So it'll be interesting to see. There's about 4 or 5 of those left in the season yet, so I'll be interested to see whether he competes anymore or leaves it a few weeks and just gets that leg absolutely right, because we tend not to see him get beaten, and when he does get beaten, it's usually by his countryman Johan Blake. Far as the golf is concerned, the St Jude Classic, a famous old tournament out of Memphis, being played at Tournament Players Championship Southwind, and currently leading the tournament at 10 under par, Harris English, and you're going to love this. Tied for 4th. I love this name just because I can say it. Boo Weekly. No particular reason, but it's a great name. Stuart Appleby tied for 13th at the moment. Nick O'Hearn tied for 39th, and Nathan Green tied for 39th as well, your best placed Aussies. The girls are playing one of their 5 majors that they play every year, and this is in Pittsford, New York. This is the Women's LPGA Championship, and Chella Choi currently leading at 5 under. She's through 17 at the moment, and this is her first round, and currently 5 under there at the moment from Morgan Pressel. As far as Australians are concerned, tied for 17th, Sarah Jane Smith, and Kari at the moment is coming tied for 74th, but those numbers don't mean a lot right at this point, but she is 4 over for that, so I'll be interested to see what the cut ends up being, especially after having a great win last week. NBA Finals, we have the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat. They've played just the one game in their 7-game series, and Spurs beat the Heat 92-88 to currently take the lead 1-0. The next game is tomorrow there. As far as the motor racing is concerned, NASCAR qualifying has been rained out at Pocono for the moment. We have the Champions League trophy in the cricket is underway for the last couple of days. I can tell you, just take a look at some of these results. We had Pakistan going down to the West Indies by about, well, they got their runs in about 10 overs. Pakistan scored 170 and West Indies came back with 8 for 172 and 40.4 overs. And I'll tell you, Australia's first match is tonight and it's against England in Birmingham, and Michael Clarke has been ruled out, and George Bailey will actually he'll actually lead the Australians there. Now the big one, Roland Garros, the finalists have been decided for both the men's and the women overnight. An epic 4-hour, 37-minute match between Djokovic and Nadal. Nadal came up trumps, winning 9-7 in the deciding set, and he will now play David Ferrer, who won in straight sets and over Songer, the Frenchman. Now it looks like we're looking at 8 titles for Nadal, creating an awful lot of history there, and I think he's 58-1 for his entire time in that tournament. And as far as the girls are concerned, finally, Serena Williams will play Maria Sharapova. Serena Williams beat Sarah Irani 6-love, 6-1, so we nearly had a double bagel in a Grand Slam semi-final. Just astonishing. And Sharapova beat Azarenka 6-1, 2-6, 6-4, so some strange score lines there. And I will mention too that I think most hardware stores should have some earplugs for sale there, or work on what I call the 50% rule. Whatever you have your television at when you're watching that game normally, put it down to about 50%, because believe me, these girls can scream. Big weekend.
No comment on that one, Darren, but the quick one I've got to ask you, what month are we in?
Mate, it's June. Can you believe it?
It's June.
Okay, so it's not cricket season. Australia, absolutely diabolical at the moment. It's not cricket season. We don't talk about cricket.
You know what? You just don't want to talk about us losing, and the fact that we got bowled out for 65 the other day, and that Michael passed out injured, and it's just depressing at the moment. But
I'll tell you what. Even though it is June, the Laureus World Sports Awards that get held each year, I think it's going to be a really amazing performance that knocks off Bayern Munich for World Team of the Year this year. And it's a big deal over in Europe and the rest of the world, so people do keep an eye on that over there, and I'll be surprised if Bayern Munich don't win that title this year.
That could be your sure thing tip of the week there, Darren. Big show planned here for on SportzScene today. We've got a few big interviews coming up. Lee, at 8:30, we've got Fiona Reid. Tell us a little bit about Fiona.
Fiona Reid is a local Rochdale new mum. Only 7 weeks ago she gave birth to her first child, and now she's on the quarter mile at the Fuchs Winter Nationals. She's a long-time racer, racing in the Superstock category out there, and we'll talk to her at 8:30.
That's it. And at 9:05, Craig, we've got Murray Davis, the assistant coach at the Brisbane Lions, coming on the show.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, Murray. We talk a lot about pathways for footballers. Well, this is a pathway for a local lad that actually made it good in the AFL, so that's going to be pretty interesting.
That's it, absolutely. That's at 9:05. And then at 9:30, we've got the Burleigh Bears CEO, Damien Driscoll. They've got a big day coming up tomorrow. It's their annual Pink Day. They raise money for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. This year, they're also splitting the profits with Alicia Neve. If you've seen the story in recent weeks on 60 Minutes, she's a local Gold Coast mum who's undergoing some rare ovarian cancer, and she needs to raise funds for treatment for that. So the Bears are getting behind that this year, and he'll be on the show at 9:30 to tell us all about that. Also, coming up in the show today, we'll be talking netball, we'll be talking French Open tennis, the Lions tour, and after the first break here, we got a review for State of Origin Game 1. So stay with us here on SportzScene.
Thomson Cooling is not only a cooling provider, you can also enjoy a cozy, warm and clean environment in your home with cost-efficient reverse cycle air conditioning. Our station sponsor, Thomson Cooling, will recommend the best Daikin reverse cycle air conditioning system for your home. Interest-free packages covering supply and installation are now available. Friendly advice, peace of mind, prompt response, quality product and service. Call today for a no-obligation free quote. Thompson Cooling, 1300 852 869.
Don't miss massive savings store-wide now at Overflow, Logan City Centre. Closing down sale for renovations. 50% off all goods in store. That's half price while stocks last. That means for a $10 spend, you pay only $5. That means for a $20 spend, you pay only $10. Let's go Overflow. Closing down sale for renovations, all goods in store, 50% off. Don't miss out on these exclusive savings. Overflow, our station sponsor, Logan City Centre next to Woolworths.
I came to this country because my cousin told me about a restaurant I could work in. Then they said I owed them $40,000. They threatened me and my family back home. Back then, I just thought that's how things worked here in Australia.
For confidential legal advice, contact Anti-Slavery Australia.
Join the 101 FM Supporters Club today and be in this month's prize draw, plus enjoy future discounts on 101 FM ticketed events and merchandise. For just $10 per year, you can become part of the 101 FM family. Current 101 FM subscribers will automatically be transferred to the Supporters Club. Phone 38088 101 and join the 101 FM Supporters Club now.
101 FM.
Now back to Darren Madigan and Karen Mitchell with Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It is 17 minutes past 8. Big show planned today. Kevin Braysher, Craig Crowley, Ethan James, Lee Hanatscheck, Darren Madigan. We're all here with you to talk through everything in the world of sports. If you want to get in contact with us on social media, we are on facebook.com/sportscene, SportzScene. Also on youtube.com/sportscene, SportzScene, and on Twitter @sportscene. So come and check us out on social media. We're all over the place. Now, time to talk about the biggest game from the week, the biggest sporting event of the week, no doubt. State of Origin 1. New South Wales getting up 14-6 over Queensland in front of a big crowd at ANZ Stadium. First thing, we'll get it out of the way. First of all, of course, the thing everyone's been talking about all week, the Paul Gallen incident involving Paul Gallen and Nate Miles. Ethan James, I'll come to you first. The action on the field from the referee, did he get it right to leave him on the field?
I don't think so, Kev. I don't think so. To throw punches the way he did, it was obviously premeditated, obviously deliberate. To not get sin binned, I think is a bit lenient. Yeah. Bring it everyone else here.
Fair enough, Lee.
Thoughts?
One word, grub. That's quite simple, a grub. You look at the game, you look at the flying arm that came into first to start it all off. Then you look at the follow-up fight, so to say, and it wasn't even a fight because Nate Miles wasn't even he was held to start with, and it was all premeditated. He knew what he was going to do, and he even made I was going to do it because he's tackling with his head. Come on, he's leading with his head. Come on.
I'm not one to get morally outraged about a fight in a State of Origin game, whatever, but it's clear, he said it himself, it was a premeditated thing where he said, I'm going to stand up to him and I'm going to belt this guy. It should have been put in the sin bin, absolutely.
Yeah, at the absolute minimum.
At the least.
At the minimum. As I just said off air, to me, it set a standard for NRL, which is not... NRL's worked so hard to try and get this game into a period where it's attractive to others other than the traditional NRL fans. No, as Kev just said, no one disputes a good bit of biff in a State of Origin, but when it's a bit of biff, not just a grub act. Full stop.
Yeah. Look, I know, Darren, from a bit of an old school angle, I know you had some thoughts on it too.
Well, I'm used to being called a dinosaur by Craig and Lee and Nick in the past with my thoughts on these subjects, but I look at this stuff and I just go, gee, I've missed it. So, yes, I think he should have been in the bin. It probably would have been a send-off offence in a normal game, but it wasn't a normal game. It's Origin, simple as that. And, I kind of miss it, and I was kind of glad to see it. I just wish Miles, who reckons he loved it publicly, I'd just like to have seen him get a few in himself and have a proper fight.
Craig, they were talking about it on AFL 360 this week. They said in the land of the cavemans, he got a week in reference to rugby league. They said in the AFL he would have got 9 weeks. What was your perspective on it as an AFL person?
Oh, look, exactly that. It's one of the areas that the AFL have really gone strong in, and even in the rule changes, they're really protecting the head. Well, the head is sacrosanct. You can't go there. And the funny thing about it, we have changed the rules in Lee with the shoulder charges to protect the head, and here we have an open slather. A punch can do a lot of damage. I thought it was quite interesting on one of the Gold Coast radio stations that I was listening to that Stephen Renouf popped his head up and said, well, that makes it good for a kid to go out tomorrow and watch it, because the majority of people who watch this game are kids that actually look up to these role models, and that's what they see, so they think this is all right. Now, that's not a really good message.
And the justification from Gallen as well is, he wanted to show leadership and all that sort of stuff, and, get one back on Miles and everything like that. I mean, there's ways to do it other than throwing punches at a bloke's head.
And to be fair to Gallen, he played very well the other night. His stats were massive again. He ran 180 metres, plenty of hit-ups, plenty of tackles. He was good. But that's stuff he's had in his game a long time he's got to get rid of.
And he does have a track record. I mean,
he's got a very long track record.
He's been to the judiciary more times than I can remember for all sorts of things.
He's got off plenty of times too, just exactly, quietly. Yeah. But yeah,
should he be playing with Manly?
That's something I'll let you say, not me, Craig. Last thing I'll say on that topic is just at half time, I don't know if anyone caught this, and it's something that really entertained me was watching Gordon Tallis at the half time and how everyone else is sitting back and they're talking rationally and calm. Yep. Gordon Tallis is sitting forward, stamping his fist against the table. Gordon Tallis has still got that Queensland passion in him, but at the same time, Gordy, I could show him footage of him beating up Ben Ross and Terry O'Connor on YouTube, so he's hardly the one to have an argument here, but I love his Queensland passion, so I'm not going to criticise Gordy. It's 22 minutes past 8 here on SportzScene. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Craig Crowley, Ethan James, Lee Hanatscheck, all with you. We're talking a review of State of Origin Game 1. Ethan, we're getting away from the Paul Gallen thing now. Overall impressions of the game, where was it won and lost?
I think Queensland were a bit flat, probably carrying a few injuries into the match as well. There was talk beforehand about, Thurston being ill. There was doubts over Boyd's fitness. I think Harrison was probably carrying a few niggles as well. But New South Wales, I thought their attitude was just sensational. They were enthusiastic. They ran with speed. They ran with purpose. They had footwork and speed up the middle of the ruck. And Queensland were on the back foot from the start, to be honest. And in a number of areas, I'm sort of surprised that the score perhaps wasn't even more weighted towards New South Wales in the end.
Right. From my perspective, in the first 60 minutes, and it pains me to say it just looked like New South Wales wanted it more. They looked like they were more enthused, they wanted to be there more, and they wanted to win more. Queensland, as you say, looked flat-footed, and Queensland were beaten very soundly in the forwards, Only one forward in this Queensland team got over 100 metres, that was Nate Miles. New South Wales, Gallen, Lewis, Watmo, and Trent Merrin escaped me for just escaping me now. It's over here somewhere.
As you were.
Yeah, Watmo, Bird, Greg Bird. All four of them all ran over 100 metres, and other ones for Fafita, these blokes all got up in the 90s as well. So their forwards ran over the top of us, gave our backline no space to move, got no ball. But to Queensland's credit, though, in the last 20 minutes, they sort of woke up a bit, and they were definitely on top in the last 20 minutes. So it showed them, even when they do get it right, they can still compete with this team. So to my mind, they don't need to panic and make too many changes.
Just a question to you guys. An old cliche. Was this the loss that Queensland had to have?
Absolutely, Craig. I mean, of course it was.
We planned it, right?
Yeah, it was. To me, I know I made a comment on Twitter the other day about the fact that in the best interest of State of Origin, New South Wales have actually got to win this series. Because I'm saying in the best. I'm not saying as a Queenslander. I'm saying in the best interest of the State of Origin to keep it interesting. Now, but this is the perfect way for Queensland to come back and make it 8 because 8 in a row to win the last 2.
I think it's still got the interest regardless of how it goes. I mean, the number of fans there, 80,000 there. New South Wales haven't won in 7 years.
That's even more than Sydney full.
It is. But in terms of the interest, I mean, there'll always be the interest in the game. There's always the drama. So yeah, regardless of who wins, the interest is always
and just something on that. I think you lose sight of the fact, even though the 7 years in a row sounds significant. The last year was really, really close. Yeah. It's marginal every time they play. So it's not a case of it's a landslide win. It's actually it's one decision made that could have made the difference in the series. So this is
a field goal in Game 3 last year.
You're right. It's still the tightest, most competitive rugby league you'll see all year. Positives for Queensland, mate. I thought Justin Hodges was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was. Great game. they didn't have the opportunity, as you said, to sort of shift the ball wide too much, but he went into dummy half and made plenty of meters, as he usually does. But the thing is for Queensland, as you said, they came home strongly. They probably left their run, well, they did leave their run a little bit too late. But it all sort of depends on how they rebound from here. I mean, they've obviously got the talent and the skill. They just got to get that hunger back. And I think going up to Suncorp with the crowd behind them, I think we'll see a much better showing.
All right, talk for game 2, mate. Would you make any changes? Corey Parker, does he need to start?
I think he does. I think in terms of the way they balanced the forward pack, it was probably too many props starting and not enough props on the bench. They had Miles and Thaiday in the second row to start, and those two guys have been playing prop exclusively for the NRL clubs. So I'm thinking, maybe start Parker, drop maybe Shillington back to the bench, have a bit better balance that way. And the other thing is Ben Hannant should be fit, so I'm guessing he'll find his way back into the side somehow.
Ben Hannant will be a big in. He's been a real big part of that team for a few years. I thought the bench played well for Queensland, but someone's got to make way for Ben Hannant to come back in.
Indeed.
Make a tough call. Who's the player that gives way for Ben Hannant?
I thought Teo off the bench was really strong, and McQueen had a really good game on debut. I thought Matt Gillette from the Broncos, he probably hasn't made the transition to Origin as well as some of the others, so perhaps he'd have to be the one to make way.
And I think Gillette and McQueen ultimately serve pretty much the same purpose coming off the bench, the same style of player. They serve the same sort of role. So I would think probably one of those two make way for Ben Hannant coming in. Maybe Josh Papali forces his way onto the bench as well, but I can't envision any other main changes for Queensland going into game 2. A lot of talk around Greg Inglis needing to get more ball. My opinion on that is that if the forwards go forward, they'll get more ball to him out wide. And Jonathan Thurston had probably his quietest Origin game I've ever seen. So if Jonathan Thurston back to full fitness, the forwards go forward, Greg Inglis will get his ball. Plus, if he goes in and looks for it like he did in the last 20 minutes and like Justin Hodges did for the whole game, he'll get himself more involved. What do you think?
Yeah, that's it. I'm sort of, I know you don't like it too much, Kev, but I'm sort of keen to see Inglis get a bit of a shot at fullback just to see what he can do, because he was absolutely dynamic in that match in Game 3 last year. And just in terms of his physical presence, returning the ball, if he runs straight and hard, he'll win the tackle every time and get the Queensland set off to a good start. So I'd love to see him maybe start the match at fullback, Slater on the wing, keep Slater slightly fresher for the back end of the match. So there we go.
That'll be something for them to think about. Craig, you had a thought about the New South Wales kicking game?
Well, obviously you could see that Jonathan Thurston wasn't 100% fit, and I thought that was quite significant in the game. I think they used, from what I've seen over the last couple of years, the yardies they make through their field kicking has been really, really good. And I thought New South Wales were very, very good. They played a lot of it in the Queensland half, which made it very, very hard, especially for their front rowers to continually bring the ball out. And that way, the consistent pressure, which Queensland have been really solid on in their areas, probably was a difference in the game. It was just so hard for the Queenslanders to get out.
And it flows on to the performance of the New South Wales. I can't praise the New South Wales forwards enough the way they played. They were fantastic. So they gave the room to Pearce and Maloney. Maloney was very strong on debut. Coupled with the great running game of their forwards and the great kicking game of their halves, New South Wales dominated field position most of the game. Queensland struggled to get out of their end. That's where it was won and lost in the first 60 minutes there for Queensland, New South Wales. Luke Lewis, man of the match. I thought he was unbelievable. What did you think?
Yeah, he was sensational. And I think he sort of typified what was so dangerous throughout New South Wales. Forwards with a huge work rate, able to, bit of footwork and speed. He was exceptionally dangerous. Great performance.
Absolutely. Game 2, mate. Queensland, they still got reason to be confident, or should they be a little bit worried after that performance?
If they can get their attitude right, mentally and everything, I think they've got the talent to win. I don't know if you saw the press conference after the match, but they were still fairly relaxed, cracking a few jokes and smiling. I just hope that they're not, the whole she'll be right attitude, because New South Wales will improve on that performance in Game 1. Mm-hmm. They dropped a lot of ball, so I think there's heaps of improvement in both sides. So Queensland will have to be on guard.
Absolutely.
It's a good New South Wales team.
Hopefully a big Queensland crowd could be there to, spur them on, and maybe Gordon Tellis give him a pep talk at half-time. He's fired up.
Let's get him on the pitch or something.
Get it to old Gordy. All right, we'll take a break here on SportzScene. We'll leave the State of Origin review for now. New South Wales 14-6 over the Queenslanders down in ANZ Stadium. 3 weeks' time, they'll be back up at Suncorp Stadium at the Cauldron there, the Queensland side, trying to level the series and go to force a decider. Game 3 will be down in New South Wales as well. We'll take a break here on SportzScene, and we're going to get Fiona Reid on the phone. So stay with us when we come back from the break.
Do you have a street light that's not functioning correctly outside your property? Perhaps you've noticed a floodlight over a zebra crossing that's not operating. Well, Energex would like you to report it to them by calling 13 12 53 or completing an online form for faulty streetlights on their website at energex.com.au. Remember also that the council has to pay the running cost of all the streetlights, whether they're working or not. So let's get the most for our rateable dollar by reporting the streetlights not functioning to Energex on 13 12 53 or on their website energex.com.au.
Four-wheel driving on Fraser Island can be dangerous. Take sand driving seriously. Don't let your trip turn to tragedy. Slow down.
All here with you. Joining us on the line, drag racer. She's a Rochdale native. Fiona Reid, welcome to SportzScene.
Hey, how you going?
Very well, thanks. Thank you for being here with us this morning.
No worries.
Fiona, Lee here. Just you're a local Rochdale girl. You're a lady in what's commonly known as a man's sport, but motorsport is really a family sport, and that's something that hits home with you, I believe.
It is. I am. There are a few female racers around these days. They're getting more and more. My mother-in-law actually used to race as well, which the family aspect of it, I guess, it's a good thing with drag racing. We've got. In my family this weekend, I've got all my family up from Victoria. I've got my in-laws. My husband also races. And I've got a newborn daughter, and she's also out here as well. So it is a big family sport.
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. 7 weeks ago, you welcomed Michaela into the world, and now you're already back behind on the wheel at the Fulks Winter Nationals. How's things going, juggling feeding times and sleeping patterns, and how's Michaela finding the sleep out there at the drags?
Luckily for me, she actually likes being at the racetrack. She didn't cry here at all. When we're home, she lets me know about it all the time. But, she's been really good. It has been a bit of a life-changing experience, but has been a good one. Hopefully she keeps enjoying the racetrack, because I don't know how I'd go at sitting at ballet every Saturday morning. Much prefer to be out here.
I was going to ask you about that, Fiona, about the newborn coming down to the track and all the rest of it. I guess it runs in the family, the love of just being down at the track if she enjoys the time there.
Yeah, she really likes the noise and the vibration. She's got the earmuffs and she's got all the hearing protection, so I'm pretty sure I'm not hurting her.
You're pretty sure. I like that. You're not confident, but you're pretty sure. But the fact of the matter is,
away from the car, so she's all locked up when the car's running.
The fact of the matter is that she's going to have it in her blood, given the fact that everyone around her is involved in motor racing of some sort. So
she has. Unfortunately, she doesn't really have much of a choice in that matter.
Yeah,
because she's got uncles, grandparents, cousins, mum and dad. She's well and truly embedded in the drag racing world.
Yeah, there's a fair chance we're going to have a third generation racer come a few years' time in the junior dragster ranks, I'm tipping. But this weekend, Fiona, you've got a new sponsor on board in Autobarns Browns Plains, and it's a local sponsor, obviously. And how important is that for you to be able to make the start line and be able to put on a good show for the local fans?
It's been great having Rob from Autobarn Browns Plains this weekend. They've shown faith in me coming back just 7 weeks after having Michaela, and that was a good confidence booster itself. But to have local support, seeing as we're here at Willowbank, which is a local track, there's so many people from Logan out here at the racetrack. It's unbelievable. And it's just really good that they've got involved and helping me out.
And tell us a little bit about the event out there this weekend, Fiona. It's I believe it's the biggest, largest drag racing event outside of the US, and at Willowbank Raceway at Champions Way there.
It is. The Winter Nationals is the biggest event out of the USA. Over the course of the weekend, it's a 4-day race meeting, and it has every bracket of drag racing, so top fuel, top alcohol, top door slammer. Usually there's about 40,000 spectators here over the course of the weekend. Today the skies are beautiful, so there's going to be some fast times in top door slammer and top fuel later this afternoon. So it's definitely the best race meeting of the year for anyone that wants to come out and watch. Today's the day to do it.
Well, thank you very much for your time this morning, Fiona. We'll let you know you got another qualifying pass coming up shortly. So
we're just about to warm the car up now and head out for another qualifier.
All the best for the weekend, and let's hope you hold one of those Christmas trees up on Monday afternoon.
Here's hoping. Thanks for ringing.
No worries. Thanks for being with us here this morning,
Bye-bye.
Fiona. We'll take a very quick break here.
You're listening to Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Craig Crowley, Lee Hanatscheck, Ethan James. We're all here with you this morning. We just got off the phone to Fiona Reid as she prepares for the Winter Nationals today. So thank you very much, Fiona, for being with us, and best of luck today. I hope she goes great for us down at Willowbank. Lee, the rest of the motorsport world, would touch on some news quickly now. The Volvo is potentially ending up in the V8s.
Yes, rumours are rife after it's broken on speedcafe.com yesterday that Volvo are set for a return to the V8 supercars. We're not sure if the white bowling hat is going to be a compulsory part of the rear window of the Volvos. But June 17 is reported to be the official launch date, which will coincide with the S60 Polestar road car. Is the rumours, very strong rumours, avidly denied by Volvo Car Australia and Gary Rogers Motorsport, who's the team it's supposedly linked with. They're both denying it at this point in time, saying it's news to them. They don't know anything about it. Biggest problem they'll face against is the engine they'll have to use, because Volvo don't have an engine that fit in the characteristics of the new car of today. Not car of the future anymore, it's car of today. But they can easily slip into that chassis, which is like the space frame chassis, which all the cars are using now. So that's probably the biggest news we've got going around at the moment, is the fact that, Volvo in. That's they've been in before. They've been in before in the 80s and in the old Australian Touring Car Championship days, and they've been very strong over in the World Touring Car Championship, British Touring Car Championship. Came out of left field for me, I can tell you.
Would you be in favour of it if it happens?
I mean, it's great. I mean, when you look at Ford, and Ford basically out of 2016, they're gone from Australia. Yes, they'll. I not guarantee it, but I'll be confident in saying they'll still use the V8 supercars as a marketing tool for their Taurus or Mustang or something along those lines. But my gut feel was it was either going to be Hyundai or Chrysler would be the next two that would come in. Especially when you look at Volvo's market share in Australia, it's it's I don't think it's a huge market share. So to dump this money into V8 supercars, it's a big call, very big call.
Right.
I don't know. Interesting. That's probably the best way to put it. Interesting.
Indeed. Oh, well, time, I suppose time will tell over the next few weeks exactly what comes from it.
Literally next Monday. Right. So this is how close. Now, this is one thing. Is I'm so surprised, if it is true, is that we're a week away.
Right.
And the news hasn't broken. Whereas you look at Nissan, you look at Mercedes, you look at those guys, when they come in, people were rumouring things 6 months before it actually was announced.
Right.
Whereas this is only broken yesterday.
Right. Yeah. As is like the case with a lot of big sports stories, somebody will leak it to the media, something will come out eventually. This one has sort of crept up on us.
Yeah, it's very much crept up. So, I think it'll be interesting. Of course, you've got from the actual racing point of view this weekend, Darren mentioned a moment ago about Pocono being washed out. You've also got the F1s in Montreal this weekend, which practice will be getting underway given the time difference as we speak. With the time difference over there in Montreal, and we've also got. Sorry, Darren.
So I was going to say, mate, we've got results through for practice.
Oh, there you go. Darren's already on it. Mr. Couch Potato himself.
where would I be without my mouse and my keyboard? Fernando Alonso in practice session 2. Currently quickest from Lewis Hamilton. Romain Grosjean. I wonder how long this man is going to keep his ride.
He hasn't crashed yet?
Oh, mate, I'm like most people. It's starting to get to the point where do you draw the line and say it becomes dangerous? But, fourth, Mark Webber. Nico Rosberg, the winner of the last race. 5th, and I'm just taking a look. Daniel Ricciardo currently in 10th spot at the moment, and as I mentioned earlier, the qualifying in Pocono, the big 2.5 mile tri-oval, is actually been washed out, so I'll have to look into the rule book and decide how they go about doing all that. But on the V8 front, just getting my 2 bits in, I think the more the merrier. And I'll put this to you, and we won't. This hypothesis won't get tested probably for a good couple of years, but I'm starting to wonder whether there are going to be some massive changes in our own touring car category over the next few years to come into line, maybe with something like a DTM or something like that. With DTM talking about going into North America and virtually confirming it in 2015, 2016, and already well and truly throughout Europe, I'm just wondering how long Australia can sort of sit out and do our own thing.
Darren, that would have been the logical thing to do when they went to the Car of the Future. James Courtney made comment of that a few months ago about the fact that they should have tried to align the car more like a DTM car, so they could then, it would actually turn out just as expensive as what they've currently got with this car today.
Yeah.
And you would then be able to go in, across and race against other teams, but unfortunately, where there was too many. I'll say they didn't want to change too much, unfortunately, and didn't want to upset too many people. But I think in the long run, I totally agree with you. It's that should have been the way to go. It still could be, but it would be a lot of pain before they get to that point.
Well, look, we're not. It's not like we haven't been through plenty of pain in this category of racing before. But the other thing too is that if we're going to talk about more than one race in North America. It just wouldn't surprise me to see some major backflipping and some major changes in the way the category is run, because it's virtually a formula now anyway. It's virtually formula racing, except with a roof on top.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Darren. It's going to take some more pain. You only have to look at the income to the teams this year has gone from some $600,000 to zip. Under the racing entitlements contract, so a lot of teams are starting to hurt out there. So there's got to be some changes got to be made. Just quickly before we wrap up the motorsport scene, is Will Power back on top at Texas?
Oh yeah,
fastest qualifier in Texas for the Firestone 550 race at the Texas Motor Speedway. So
nice.
Great to see Will on top.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
That's an oval as well, so hopefully he can come through and get some good points on the board after a very difficult start to the year for Will Power.
Fingers crossed for him. Darren, is there any other motorsport stuff you want to talk about?
Just taking a look at some of we've seen the practice sessions and everything there for the Canadian Grand Prix, so we're up to date on that. As far as news is concerned during the week, we mentioned last week that Williams will be racing with Mercedes engines. There is some rumours floating around that Michelin are considering a return to Formula One as well, and we're getting to that time of the year where the rumours and the silly season in the circus is really going crazy. So the next 2 Grand Prix, I would suggest we're going to see some crazy talk, and we're also going to see possibly where the future of people like Kimi Räikkönen and that lie. So a lot to happen over the next fortnight to 3 or 4 weeks.
That's it. We'll take a break here on SportzScene. It's 8:45. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk through the Lions Tour. There's also a Socceroos qualifier that went on during the week as well. So stay with us here on SportzScene.
Life is for living, so live it. Life is for giving, so give it. Giving blood is cool, needing it isn't. Red Cross. Give a little. Life is for living. Life is for giving. Help save lives. Please give blood.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a chicken, E-I-E-I-O.
The farms where most of our egg products come from aren't what they used to be. Across Australia, 11 million hens are still confined to the misery of battery cages. Please, don't buy into cruelty. Help Animals Australia put an end to factory farming.
Be a voice for animals at animalsaustralia.org.
Remember When? With Richard Davey, bringing you golden musical memories from the 1920s to the late 50s.
Hey now, you better listen to me, every one of you. We got a lot of work to do. Forget about your women and that water can. 'Cause you're working for the man. Working for the man. Waterloo, Waterloo. Everybody has to meet in water.
On 101 FM. 101 FM.
And now it's back to Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 12 minutes to 9. Your next fresh news update coming up at the top of the hour. Just a reminder, each Tuesday morning during Morning Magazine, Terry Lindsay from our sponsor Technology Training Group answers your questions on all matters regarding computer technology. If you'd like him to give you the right advice, then email your question to techtraingroup@outlook.com. That's techtraingroup@outlook.com, or phone Terry on 1300 136 679, 1300 136 679. Each week, a lucky person will receive a free lesson valued at $55. All right, we move on here at Sports Scene. It's time to talk the Lions Tour. Once every 12 years, they're here, they're on our shores, and they open their Australian account against the Western Force on Wednesday night. Against the Western Force over there at Patterson Stadium, 69-17, the Lions. Very, very impressive, Darren. It was nice just to see them out here, and they've really put together a really strong squad this year. It's going to be a real challenge for us, the Wallabies.
Yeah, it was one of those perfect performances, wasn't it? I mean, good running rugby, and their kicking. I can't remember what their kicker's name is, but he kicked 11 from... Sorry?
Lee Halfpenny.
Lee Halfpenny.
The Welshman, yes.
He kicked 11 from 11, and he was popping them over from everywhere, including the sideline. So, yeah, I mean, if anything, after looking at the highlights of the match and that, and the stats, you start to think to yourself, gee, they were pretty impressive. Okay, it was against the Western Force, and tonight will be probably a bigger test, but yeah, we're up against it, I think.
Absolutely, mate, and the depth of the squad is amazing. Brian O'Driscoll picked up 2 tries, of course, the Irish legend outside centre, picked up 2 tries in the win over the Western Force. Probably unlikely that he'll even be in the test squads, though, because you've got guys like Marty Tuilagi, he's a massive guy, he's going to be great in the middle, and Jonathan Davies, guys like this. So it's not just the guys that ran out there against the Force, mate. They've got plenty of weight in the wings that'll be very good against the Wallabies.
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, a little bit sad to see some of your heroes not playing in that, but I mean, I guess that's life, that's sport, isn't it? I mean, someone like O'Driscoll, I mean, just the name itself, we've all known it down through the years, and I mean, I'd love to see him playing, but I think you're right. You know, common sense says he probably won't make the final test squad, but yeah, just to see him out here on tour again, and what will be the last time we see him play, I think, and probably in any representative form. But yeah, as I said, that performance against the Western Force, both from the running rugby style and also the kicking, I mean, when you put it all together, you end up with those sort of score lines, and I'm sure the Wallaby selectors will be tearing their hair out looking at that and saying, where do we go from here?
Absolutely. One, I suppose, incident out of that game that did occur, that one against the Force, a prop, Cian Healy, he was accused of biting Western Force scrum half Brett Sheehan. He was accused of that, but the videos proved inconclusive. They couldn't charge him on it. He was accused, but he got off. But at the same time, his tour is now over because of an ankle injury. He'll be going home. But, you know, Lee, you said Paul Gallen was a grub for running and punching. Biting's a little bit worse.
Mate, you took the words out of my mouth. I was about to just come over the top there and, you know, a Gallen grub. But, yeah, biting, there is no place whatsoever for that in the sport. You know, get rid of it.
Agreed. And look, I think probably to maybe explain a little bit too to people who are relatively new to the program down through the years. Well, I mean, I've sort of always loved this whole bit of biff and stuff like that, but I do always qualify it by saying that, you know, you walk up to someone face to face and you go whack. That to me is part of the toughness of some of these codes of football. But elbows, biting, all that sort of stuff, you know, there's a code in footy, even if it's unwritten, and you don't do stuff like that. As far as I'm concerned, that sort of thing, you know, you're off. Get out of here.
That's it. Well, he was cleared of it, video inconclusive, but his tour is over thanks to an ankle injury. The next game comes up tonight at Suncorp Stadium. It'll be a near sellout there, massive crowd expected, taking on the Queensland Reds. They fielded quite a good side there, the Queensland Reds. Plenty of guys with Wallaby experience and lots of Reds experience. The current Wallabies guys like Will Gannier, James Horwell, this lot, they won't be there. Quade Cooper will be the captain in their absence, and a lot of the spotlight will be on Quade Cooper as he looks to force himself into that squad. The rest of the squad will be announced on Tuesday. So the pressure most certainly on Quade Cooper, guys. Do we think he'll deliver?
Enormous pressure, isn't it? As far as his track record goes in delivering under pressure, it's a bit all over the place. I think in the past we saw, and certainly during the last World Cup, that to be the case. Look, I hope he does well. I mean, I like to see players who can express a bit on the field and show a bit of fun to go along with the dependables that are in the team as well. They're doing everything they can, the selectors, to give him a chance. You know, he's been named captain. Everybody knows this is his real last chance to actually get in the squad. It's up to him now.
That's it. It is up to him, and all the spotlight will be on him. A lot of ways, people are viewing this as Quade Cooper's selection trial more than the rest of them. Of course, there are other players that will be looking to force their way in. Anthony Fainga and Ben Tapuai, in particular, in the centres, coming up against Manu Tuilagi and Jonathan Davies, as I was talking about before. A big test for them, and potentially a way to force their way into the squad with a good performance against those guys. But the rest of the tour keeps going into the week and the weeks ahead. The next game after this one against the Reds will be against a combined New South Wales and Queensland country team. That'll be on Tuesday night, and then next Saturday night it'll be the Waratahs up against the Lions. So we'll keep you up to date with all the Lions tour in the coming weeks. It is 7 minutes to 9 here on SportzScene. Next fresh news update coming up at the top of the hour. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Craig Crowley, Ethan James, Lee Hanatscheck, all here with you. Darren, there was one other big international event involving the Australians during the week. It was the Socceroos, their World Cup qualifier against Japan. A heartbreaker made a penalty in extra time, or in stoppage time. It ends up a draw, Australia leading 1-1. But what did you make of the way Australia performed and now their World Cup chances? Yeah, look, if we take a look at the goal scorer, Tommy Orr, he was a little bit, obviously a bit nervous, a bit ordinary in the first half, but he came good in the second half. That goal, you'll take every time. Yes, it was really a cross, but it managed to carry far enough to be a goal. The penalty, yes, that's heartbreaking. That does happen in football, and unfortunately it's happened to the Socceroos in really important times down through the years, including in a World Cup against Italy, if we all remember, with Lucas Neal. I think... I'll pluck that out of my head, Darren. That's gone. Did you have to bring that up? we need a couple of 3-point results, otherwise teams like Jordan and that are going to overtake us. We only picked up the one out of that. It's a very simple scenario now. We have to win the next two matches against Jordan and Iraq. Jordan to be played in Melbourne next week on the 11th. That's Tuesday, I think, isn't it? The 7 o'clock? Yep. The 11th, yeah. And a week later at Stadium Australia in Sydney, we'll be playing our old nemesis, Iraq. What we will also do probably next week, because there is an absolute truckload of World Cup qualifying matches being played all over the world this weekend. We'll try and make heads or tails of it and give you a brief rundown of where certain key countries are standing at the moment. So look forward to that in the next week or two. We'll get all that together for you, and we'll give you a brief rundown on all of that. But I think at the moment, I think we can take Jordan, but we simply have to. It's as simple as that. We have to win the match. We have to get those 3 points. If we lose this one, I think we can kiss goodbye our chances. Darren, I think the nuts and the bolts of it all is that, in 2 weeks' time, we all hope that Australians will once again become soccer fanatics and soccer experts. That's really what will happen over the next... If Australia make the World Cup... We want the bandwagon to come back. Australia will have the bandwagon again. Right. The other thing that worries me is we've become a very defensive team over the past 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And we're very, very good at playing defensively, and the top teams are all very, very good at that as well. And obviously that's the way the coaching staff have decided to take the way we play the game. But really, if you're going to be that defensive, you need to have somebody up front who can score goals as well. And with Harry Kuhl out at the moment,
That's cool.
He has, by the way, he's confirmed as a signing for the Melbourne Heart as well, by the looks of things. So he'll be back in Australia playing for the other Melbourne team. But really, I'm a bit worried, and I don't like how defensively we're playing at the moment. It's almost like you're beaten before you walk on the field. I mean, I think we need to be out there scoring goals.
Darren, I'll give you my opinion in 2 weeks' time when we make the World Cup, because, put that hat on, we're automatically a soccer expert, so, we'll be all good.
That's the point. We're coming up to the news. It's 3 minutes to 9 here on Sports Scene. Darren, have we got some local basketball results from the Southern Basketball League?
Oh, my computer's decided to play silly games, so we'll have to give you that probably.
That's all right. We got other things here on Sports Scene. We will. I know, Lee, you wanted to avoid it, but the Champions Trophy cricket leading up into the Ashes coming up in a couple of weeks' time. With Michael Clarke out, do we give us any chances against the English side coming up tonight?
No.
So there.
No. When you get bowled out for 65...
It wasn't promising, was it?
Okay, if they got bowled out for 150, it was a bad game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But when you get 10 players out, which probably there was a few players that didn't play that game that may, make a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make 200 runs difference,
right,
which is what you've got to make. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Serious trouble is Australian cricket. Now, one of the good things about it during the week was the new TV deal that was announced with Channel 9 and Channel 10. Basically, 9 have got the international matches, and then Channel 10 will bring the Big Bash. Mm-hmm. That'll be a great thing for domestic cricket.
Yeah.
It'll be a huge thing. Now, the one thing I do really like about it is the fact that there's a lot of talk about domestic cricket and building that up again, because that's what we've lacked. We haven't had that feeder.
Sure.
Probably the last 5, 6, 8 years, we haven't had that feeder that's come through the ranks, and that's what we've really lacked is that side of it.
Yeah. We've got some good bowling talents in those sides, but it just seems we said it all summer, just not confident in that top order that they're going to be able to perform. That's where the worry is with the Australian cricket team.
But even in the bowling attack, we had the foot on the throat in that particular game, and they still got out of jail with enough runs to win, regardless of the fact that we only got 65. Yeah. They had them right on toast, and then they just let it go. So there's also that factor too. They're not really killing sides to give their batting side an opportunity to win the game.
That's it. Look, we're going to go to the news here on Sports Scene. Coming up after the break, Craig, Murray Davis from the Brisbane Lions will join us on the line.
Yeah, once again, it's an interesting pathway, and I think from all the footballers that are out there that are wanting to play AFL, there's still an opportunity for people who really want to put themselves to it, make an AFL coach.
Absolutely right. Also coming up in the second hour, we got Damien Driscoll, CEO of the Burleigh Bears. He'll be on the line to tell us all about their Pink Day and the fundraising that they're doing all across this weekend. They've also got the TV game in the Q Cup this week against the Central Queensland Capras. So stay with us in the second hour. We'll also be talking French Open tennis and some netball as well. So stay with us here on 101 FM for Sports Scene. Here on 101 FM, it is 6 minutes past 9, heading into the second hour of what is a jam-packed show for you today here on 101 FM. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Lee Hanatscheck, Ethan James, Craig Crowley, all here with you. Just a reminder, if you want to get in contact with us here on Sports Scene, we are on social media, facebook.com/sportscene, that's SportzScene. Also on youtube.com/sportscene, SportzScene. And if you want to send us an email with any thoughts or opinions or anything like that, send us an email at news@sportscene, SportzScene.com.au. That's news@sportscene. I know we've had a few phone calls coming through, but we've been busy getting people on the phone and stuff, so we haven't been able to answer. So if you've got a question for us, shoot us an email at news@sportscene.com.au. Now, joining us on the line, he's the assistant coach at the Brisbane Lions, Mr. Murray Davis. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, thank you very much for being here with us, mate. And we'll get straight into it, mate. You got quite a journey in your time in football. Tell us a little bit about the pathway and what led you to your current job now with the Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, it sort of certainly started out by playing the game of AFL. I played local football here in Queensland with the Zilmere Eagles, and it was probably injury in the end that sort of forced me to retire from the game early, and then certainly someone suggested at that point to sort of stay involved in the game was to get into coaching, and that's how it all sort of started, I suppose. And unfortunately I had a few injuries during my career as a player, and it certainly gave me a good appreciation of what the game was and how to sort of study it, I suppose. And then started out coaching the reserves in the state league competition here in Queensland, and progressed from there.
In saying that, mate, you know, like obviously you went from there, and like your journey is really, really an amazing one, really, for what you've done. As you said, you've started there, but it just doesn't stop there. Obviously, you took over the job from Wayne Britton at the Zilmer as a senior job, and then you took him to a premiership after that. What happened after that, mate? Oh, not a premiership, sorry, I shouldn't say it was a premiership.
Not a premiership, because we come up against your mob in Southport.
Murray, is that a bit of a knife in there or what?
Freudian slip. Jack had to throw that in there. I look back at that time, it's just been a great learning experience, because I sort of took over from Wayne Britton, and we won sort of 10 games straight, and I sort of thought, geez, how good's this coaching business? It's an easy game. And then, we got towards the back end of the season and we lost 3 games in a row, and I thought, hang on a second, it's not as easy as what I thought it was. And then 2 games later, we were sort of playing in the grand final against Southport, which we unfortunately lost, but it taught me a lot, going through that whole process. And then, the following couple of years, I sort of ended up coaching at Zilmer in tough and challenging times. We were sort of a club that was battling financially, and it certainly taught me a lot about resilience and being able to work my way through different scenarios. And unfortunately, in the end, the club I was coaching at folded in, I think it was 2008, and I sort of had spent my whole football career playing and coaching at Zilmer Football Club, and then all of a sudden I was sort of where to now? But I was lucky enough to be given an opportunity to move up to the Northern Territory, and I moved up there in 2010 it was, 2009 to start off with, working closely with Michael McLean, and a new team was formed called the Northern Territory Thunder, and it was just a full-time position up there working with Madjo McLean and getting the club up and running, and that was a real eye-opener, because I'd never ever been to the Territory, and all of a sudden I was in a position where I was sort of trying to build a football club along with Madjo and Stuart Toddem, so that was a unique experience as well.
Now that you've got the knives out of your back, Ray just throwing you about those dark days of missing out the premiership to Southport. What's the difference between the coaching at the NEAFL level and an AFL level there, Murray?
It's probably a number of things. I think probably the one big thing is just the access to the players, and at state league level, and I take my hat off to all the players and coaches, volunteers, because everyone's working full time, and then they're coming to training after their 9 to 5 job or whatever it may be, and then expected to train, and sometimes you're not getting home until 10:30 at night, and you're doing a lot of things after hours. And whereas in the AFL system, you're sort of working that 9 to 5 job, doing footy stuff. So certainly as coaches in the AFL, we do take a lot of stuff home with us, but I think just the access to the players during the day, and just the resources and that type of stuff as well. I mean, access to the IT side of things, and physios and medical staff and all that type of stuff. There's just a big gap there, but state league footy is fantastic, because I think it's along the whole way it's grassroots footy, and it really gives you a great appreciation of the game that we love to be a part of.
Yeah, Murray, you spoke a bit about your injuries before. You never got the chance or the opportunity to pull on the jersey at AFL level. Do you feel as if you sort of had to prove yourself a bit more as coach, or have you always been sort of fairly confident in your ability?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I probably myself doubted that I would ever get an opportunity to coach at AFL level, because of the fact that I hadn't played AFL football. And along the way, I probably was a little bit proactive in doing things like a lot of courses, talking to a lot of different people. I had a great opportunity to work with some of the best state league coaches going around in state teams, and as an assistant. And then, as I say, just talking to AFL coaches, I had the opportunity to go and spend some time at an AFL club, and it really opened my eyes to the fact that, hey, look, this is, whilst there are some things that are different, these guys I feel like I've still got the ability and something to offer at an AFL level, and it probably, the move up to the Northern Territory was a really good thing for me. I think working in football full time and just being able to work with Indigenous players, and I was lucky enough to, whilst I didn't win a premiership against the Southport Sharks back in 2006, I managed to win one with NT Thunder in 2011, and that was a great experience. And from then I sort of joined the Brisbane Lions and loving my time in the AFL at the moment.
That's it, Darren, I'll bring you in, mate.
Yeah, Murray, Darren Madigan here, mate. The pathway for players these days is pretty well set out. You know, as a teenager, what's required of you to get through to the top level of the sport. As a coach, you know, if you've got guys coming to the end of their careers or their careers are being cut short and they want to become coaches, what would you say is the pathway these days in terms of the various levels, you know, 1, 2 and 3 and all that sort of stuff that you are actually now, according to the AFL, required to have before you start coaching top teams?
Yeah, you mentioned that there. Certainly getting your accreditation, doing your level 1, 2 and 3 coaching courses is, you know, very important, along with, I think, having contacts within the industry. I mean, talking to other AFL coaches, sitting in on, you know, training sessions. I mean, most clubs in Victoria, you can go along and watch them train, and you certainly can do that at certain stages with the Brisbane Lions as well. And it's really just increasing your I suppose your IT and IP on the game itself. And I think as a coach, you know, our players at the moment, some of our, you know, Simon Blackett's been mentioned. He's one that's doing his coaching course at the moment, so he's certainly thinking about life after football. But I think, yeah, it's probably just about making sure you do that accreditation and you're exposing yourself to whether it be coaches or the game itself at a higher level.
Yeah, are there certain accreditations though that you are, you know, you're not allowed to actually coach a team without these days as you go up the pyramid, so to speak?
Yeah, I think with state league football, I think it starts out with your junior football. You certainly have to have your level 1, and then I think the further you go, it's sort of your level 2, and then the level 3 is actually one that you have to be invited to. So it was, I sort of think back about my time when I did my level 3, which was at the end of 2008, and in the room with myself at that time was Brad Scott, Chris Scott, Damien Hardwick, Matty Primus. I'm trying to think if there was another AFL senior coach in there at the time as well. So these guys have all gone on to be sort of AFL senior coaches and AFL assistant coaches as well. But generally, yeah, to get into the AFL, they certainly like you to have done that level 3, which is the sort of highest accreditation you can have. So
it's fair to say that someone like a Kevin Sheedy or a Mick Malthouse, even though they've been around, you know, since Methuselah was a boy, and actually have these incredible records, there's no slack cut there. They have to have their level 3 as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that those guys, and what they do is they do, those guys that you mentioned that have been involved in the game for a long time, they go back and do the course as a refresher as well, because the game's forever evolving and changing. And so I think as coaches, you know, I myself will go and try and sort of do new courses and go to do lectures on, you know, what's happening in the game, and it's not necessarily just the game itself, but different coaching methods and that type of stuff to try and stay ahead of the game.
That's it. You're listening to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 16 minutes past 9. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Lee Hanatscheck, Ethan James and Craig Crowley all here with you. We're currently talking to Murray Davis, assistant coach at the Brisbane Lions and former head coach with the NT Thunder in the NEAFL.
Murray, just a couple of things, a couple of questions here. Like, you look at the icons of the game, especially at the Lions at the moment. You mentioned Simon Black before, but you got Jonathan Brown. You know, even it's a little bit different when you're not in the system. You know, regardless if you've coached at the highest level, you still look up to these blokes. How do you relate to these sort of blokes? Do you feel a little bit intimidated at times when you try to talk to them, or are they that welcoming that it makes it easy on you?
Yeah, I think it's what makes a great player is a player, irrespective of what he's achieved in the game, is is someone that really is open to new ideas and new ways of learning and new ways of improving himself as a footballer. I think that's the beauty of those guys you mentioned there, Simon Blake and Jonathan Brown. And I sort of look after the defensive stuff, and you would sort of think I don't have a lot to do with them in that area, but they constantly will walk past and say, look, how are we going in this? What do you think of this? Or are you noticing this? And I think, as I said, that's what makes them such fantastic players, that even though I haven't played at the level that those guys have, they respect what I'm about as a coach, and certainly we sit down and they come to me for information, and I certainly go to them for a lot of what they're seeing out on the field as well.
Mate, in early days there must have been something in the water over at Zilmi, because probably the only other player from who played at this level and went on to coach at AFL level is Wayne Britton. Look, did he have any help with you, like when you were trying to pursue your coaching career, especially after you got the senior job at Zilmi? Did you look for him for advice, any influence, to tell you about a pathway and what you should be looking at?
Not initially. It was certainly something that, whilst working with Wayne, there was a lot of things that I learned along the way, along with his brother Craig, who was involved at the Brisbane Lions as well. So I was pretty lucky in some aspect. One year at Windsor Zilmi, the club folded for a year after winning a premiership in '95, and I had a year under Wayne Johnston at Kettering Grange, the Dominator. So I'd sort of played under some guys that had certainly had AFL experience, and probably one guy that I'd certainly lent on a lot in early days in my coaching was a guy by the name of Robbie Dickfoss, the older brother of Danny Dickfoss, that played at the Brisbane Lions, and Robbie was a coach of mine, but certainly someone that I respected greatly, and certainly went to for a lot of help in starting out my coaching career.
That's it. Look, Murray, the last thing we want to talk about before we let you go this morning, the Brisbane Lions, of course, had a terrific pre-season picking up the NAB Cup. Currently, they sit down in 15th place, 3 wins so far this season. How's morale in the camp at the moment so far going into the competition, 11 rounds in?
Yeah, look, I was just talking off air to Jack before a little bit about that. When you certainly you look at your wins and losses, and that's certainly what the outside you always judged on that. It can be, you can sort of find yourself, oh, geez, how do we get ourselves out of this? But the competition really demands that you have to get yourself up week in, week out. So the boys' focus from one week to the next, it's really, I must say, it's pretty buoyant. We've got a fairly young group, and we're bringing a lot of young players and introducing them to AFL footy. So there's a lot of enthusiasm around the group to do well, and certainly we take the losses fairly hard, and so you should, because you're in every game to try and win it. But I think because we've got such a young group and there's some real potential there, that the enthusiasm amongst the playing group is still fairly high. And we know that we've got some tough games coming up. We've sort of got Fremantle away, so there's no tougher trip after the bye than to travel over there and face them. But it's a challenge we look forward to, and the way that the boys have performed this week on the training track leading into the bye would suggest that they're in a really good frame of mind.
And I'm sure most Queensland footy fans are right behind you, and hopefully the boys can get a win over there next week. Murray Davis, thank you very much for being with us on SportzScene this morning.
Thanks very much for your time, guys. Cheers, appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much. We'll go to a break here on SportzScene. When we come back, we'll go through the NEAFL and the AFL, so stay with us.
Life is forgiving, so give it. Giving blood is cool. Needing it isn't. Red Cross. Give a little. Life is for living. Life is for giving. Help save lives. Please give blood.
There's nothing like the smell of a barbecue. Sausage cooked to perfection with delicious onion or scrumptious bacon with egg on a fresh burger bun. Each month, the team from your station 101 FM cook up a storm at Office Works on Compton Road to raise funds. Drop in and say hi and support your station. Keep listening for details and like us on Facebook. We're your station, Logan City's 101 FM.
Good morning, Romeo's Lonely Hearts Club. Good morning, Romeo's. Looking to be lucky in love?
Hi, my name's Ralph, and I'm looking for love and companionship.
Oh, well, I'm sure we can help you, Ralph. Tell me a bit about yourself. Are you fit, healthy?
Oh yes, I run every day. And I'm the strong, silent, faithful type.
Oh, you sound wonderful, Ralph.
Oh, and I'm desexed, vaccinated, and temperament tested.
Lovely.
Right now, the perfect lifelong companion could be waiting for you and your family at the RSPCA. They're happy, healthy, and looking for love.
Oh, and I love kids too.
G'day. My name's Con. That's short for air conditioner. Get it? Anyway, around here, I'm not just a pretty face. They depend on me to deliver clean, fresh air and quiet performance 24/7. So, to keep me in tip-top condition, the boss only trusts one bloke, and that's Nick from Marshall Air Conditioning and Service. Hey, round here, they call him the Shining Star. Get it? Star, as in Marshall. Anyway, for sales, service and installation in all areas and workmanship that's guaranteed, call Nick anytime on 0417 715 137.
We play the biggest hits and the greatest memories. Logan City's 101 FM. You're listening to Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 24 minutes past 9 on your station. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Lee Hanatscheck, Ethan James, Craig Crowley, all here with you. We just got off the phone to Murray Davis, assistant coach at the Brisbane Lions. It was great to hear from him, Craig, and just hearing the pathway. Very interesting to hear the pathway for a coach next to the pathway of the players that we always hear about.
Yeah, we do. We hear that all the time, but, the opportunity is there, and no doubt there was a few trendsetters in that. Wayne Britton, who went on to coach Carlton, which we didn't really allude to and what we spoke about. He actually came from not being an AFL player to go on and be an AFL coach at Carlton. So it's a great transition. It's not as prominent as what the players is, and not only that for coaches, there is a really strong pathway there for umpires as well in the NEAFL competition. So anyone who's out there who probably find it hard to play and maybe too small or have been injured at some stage, there is a pathway to still get there at the MCG come grand final day as an umpire.
That's the one. Darren Madigan, look, we had it up before. We just missed out on the local results. Can you fill us in on the local basketball results for us quickly?
Basketball results. Thank you, computer. It's like being nice to me again. All right, let's take a look at Logan Thunder and the ladies. They went down to the Gold Coast Seahawks 73-45 last weekend. They will play this week the Ipswich Force, and that is this afternoon at 3 p.m. at Cotton On Foundation Stadium. Obviously, I'll guess that's somewhere in Ipswich. Now, as far as the men are concerned, we've got the Logan Thunder. It was a local derby. Logan Thunder and West Logan played each other down at Cornubia in Sports there, and the Logan Thunder got up 82-76. And this weekend, the two teams play. You got the Logan Thunder playing the Ipswich Force once again, same stadium, Cotton On Foundation Stadium at 3 p.m. And we've also got the West Logan playing the Sun Coast Clippers at 3:30 p.m. this afternoon at Maroochydore Basketball Stadium. And see if we can bring up a ladder for you. And as far as the girls are concerned, at the moment, we have the Gold Coast Seahawks leading from the Gold Coast Waves, the Brisbane Capitals and the Southern District Spartans. As far as the Logan Thunder are concerned, they are coming 10th at the moment. And as far as the men are concerned, we've got, once again, similar story, Seahawks sitting on top of the ladder there from the Southwest Metro Pirates and the Brisbane Capitals. And West Logan currently in 7th spot, and the Logan Thunder currently in 11th spot for the men in the SBL.
That's it. Look, we'll have to rip through some tips now for the NEAFL and the AFLs. We've got Damien Driscoll coming up shortly, Bears CEO Damien Driscoll. First of all, Craig, that is this afternoon, 3 p.m. Gold Coast Suns up against the Sydney Swans. That's at Metricon Stadium.
Yeah, look, I think we say it all the time, and they play themselves on a regular basis because of that, because the AFL experience they need, and they can load up as many as they want. It's going to be a great game. The Gold Coast Suns are actually playing very, very well in in their reserve grade, and it's probably got a lot to do with their success at this stage at senior level, is because they've got a good strength and no injuries in their side. So at this stage, I'll stick with the Suns. I think they're going well enough to beat the Swans at this stage.
NT Thunder up against the UWS Giants, another cross-conference one. That's 7 p.m. tonight over in Darwin.
Yeah, look, we saw firsthand how good the Thunder are. We played them up there. This is curtain raiser, last week's AFL game. The Thunder, look, they're not far away from really stamping their authority on the competition. They've just picked up a gun recruit from the SANFL. So it's very interesting to see how that'll go. Look, I'll go with the Thunder on this one. It's a hard journey up to TIO Stadium.
That it is. Aspley up against Mount Gravatt tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 p.m. at Graham Road.
Obviously, yeah, Aspley are the big improvers of the competition. And look, Mount Gravatt are, as we talk on a regular basis, are in a rebuilding stage. They've lost a lot of credentialed players from their list, and it'll be good to see their junior players come through, but I think Aspley will be too strong in this one.
Aspley in pink too, guys.
Oh, well, there you go. Beautiful. That
carries on
to what we're about.
We're about to talk about with Damien Driscoll, Bears CEO, just after the break. The Broadbeach side up against Redlands, mate, 1:30 p.m. tomorrow at Broadbeach.
Yeah, look, this will be a good game, especially at Broadbeach. Redlands have been just starting to find their way and showing the potential they gave us probably at the end of the year last season. Broadbeach need to win the game to sort of stay in touch with the final five, or final six, I think it is. I could be mistaken there, but anyway. But Redlands, look, I think...
Southwood only were at 1 and 2, do they, Craig?
No, that's not true, mate. We've had our time out of there. I think Redlands will probably be a bit too strong for Broadbeach, but it'll be a really good game.
That's it, mate. The final match of the round, your Southport Sharks up against Morningside. You're at home tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 p.m.
Yeah, Darren, you'll be looking forward to this one, a bit of an arch rival game.
It's the old firm.
Yeah. Look, it will be interesting because... look, we're travelling quite nicely at the moment. We're starting to get a lot of our players back from injury. Morningside, look, they were a bit decimated during the course of their pre-season through, players leaving and retirements. They've gone with youth, and it's really paying dividends at the moment. They've got a good format of senior players and youth coming through. But look, we're hoping we'll be strong enough at home, and to all people around the area, please get to the game, because we see one of our legends of our side anyway, who's playing, and probably the competition in Queensland, plays 200th game. It's David James. He's a multiple BNF winner at our club, look, it's well and truly warranted. He's been a great player to the club. He's a team of the century player for Southport, so congratulations to David. But on that, I think we'll have a win.
Absolutely, mate. We'll go now straight to the AFL round 11. Only a few games being played this weekend, 6 teams getting the bye. First of all, GWS Giants up against Geelong at Skoda Stadium this afternoon, 1:40 p.m.
Yeah, well, you say it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
They're trying hard, but they're just not at the quality of what Geelong will be, and I think they'll be just too strong.
It's going to be a mess.
Lee Adelaide up against Sydney. That'll be 4:40 p.m. Queensland time over at AAMI Stadium.
Yeah, that'll be a really good game, I think. Sydney are obviously going to go in as favourites. Adelaide, played very well last week against Freo. Probably a little bit unlucky not to get the win. They just didn't get. Probably only played a half of football. They played the second half of every quarter, pretty much. I think my heart says Adelaide. I think,
really?
Really. Sydney will be favourites, and if you're a tipping man, I'll be tipping Sydney.
Fair enough. Darren, Gold Coast up against North Melbourne. That's at Metricon Stadium tonight, 7:40.
Yeah, hard to believe they're 12th and 13th on the ladder, isn't it? You just wouldn't pick that talking about them. Gold Coast Suns at the moment, they play some great halves of footy, 3 quarters. If I want to get crazy and... I'll go a bit crazy. I think the Suns might just pop up a win against North on this one.
They always lift at home, the Suns. Leo, come back to you for this one quickly. St Kilda up against West Coast. That is tomorrow afternoon at Etihad Stadium.
Yeah, that's going to be a difficult one, I think. I mean, if it was in Western Australia, you go the Eagles. But given that it's not, it evens it out a little bit, and I'm probably going to lean towards St Kilda.
That's it. And the final match of the round, I come to you for this one, Craig. Melbourne Demons up against Collingwood at the G. Melbourne been under lots of pressure this week. What's going to happen, mate?
It's going to be a train wreck, I think. Yeah. Look, to be honest with you, the biggest story that'll come out of here, you know where Melbourne's going to be, and I gave no doubt to the guys on their side. They're trying as hard as they possibly can. They just haven't got the clientele to sort of win these sort of games. It's going to be an indicator to see where Collingwood are and where they're going to be and where they're going to finish in the finals, I think, more so than anything else. If they play well, it stamps something. But, look, for what it's worth, the tip, it's, Collingwood.
And Craig, the rumour coming out of Melbourne is that Melbourne financially can't actually afford to get rid of Neil. They can't afford to pay him out and then start paying somebody else.
When he got signed.
It's a bit of a worry.
We got to leave it there, guys. We got to move on now. After the break here on SportsScene, we get Damien Driscoll, CEO for the Burleigh Bears, on the phone to talk us through their Pink Day and their fundraising, all that they're doing this weekend. So stay with us on SportsScene.
Do you have a street light that's not functioning correctly outside your property? Perhaps you've noticed a floodlight over a zebra crossing that's not operating. Well, Energex would like you to report it to them by calling 13 12 53 or completing an online form for faulty streetlights on their website at energex.com.au. Remember also that the council has to pay the running cost of all the streetlights, whether they're working or not. So let's get the most for our rateable dollar by reporting the streetlights not functioning to Energex on 13 12 53 or on their website energex.com.au.
Four-wheel driving on Fraser Island can be dangerous. Take sand driving seriously. Don't let your trip turn to tragedy. Slow down. Stick to the speed limit. In good conditions, 80 kilometres an hour on the beach and 30 on inland tracks. Slower is safer. Seatbelts save lives. Wear them. It's the law. Police.
24 minutes to 10 in Next Fresh News Update. Coming up at the top of the hour, Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Craig Crowley, Ethan James, Lee Hanatscheck, we're all here with you. And joining us on the line, he's the CEO of the Burleigh Bears, Mr. Damien Driscoll. Damien, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Very good, thanks, mate. Thanks for being here with us. It's a big weekend for the Burleigh Bears, something you guys have been doing for a number of years now. Tell us a little bit about the weekend. First of all, the Pink Day tomorrow.
Yeah, look, obviously, it's into our sixth season now of wearing the pink gear, the Queensland Cup side, raising money for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. So we kicked it off with a luncheon yesterday. We were just under 300 ladies and men attended, and it was a great day, raised a heap of money. And then tomorrow's game against Central Queensland, where the guys will be on Channel 9 wearing their pink jerseys.
That's it. Look, is there an approximate figure on how much has been raised over the last few years by the Bears?
It's over $50,000. Obviously, we had a pretty good day yesterday, raised a lot of money yesterday. There was some great support there. So we're pretty proud of what the club's achieved. And, we really enjoyed this part of the season, I guess, where we celebrate, with the National Breast Cancer Foundation.
That's it. There's a little bit of a different spin on it this year with the Pink Day tomorrow. Tell us about, there's an extra cause that you guys are working for tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it's probably been well documented, I suppose, on the Gold Coast and even nationally now. Alicia Neva, a local mother, she's in some hard times and she's finding it pretty tough now with this. And we were approached a while ago to get involved, and once hearing the whole story is quite compelling, and we thought, look, let's do something, because it was sort of working well with our cause, I suppose, of raising money. And so we're going to raise some money tomorrow, hopefully for Alicia. There'll be things from the auction after the game of the players' jerseys, and half the gate takings that come through tomorrow will also go towards her.
You spoke about the jerseys there, Damien. What exactly are they, and how can people, bid for those in auction?
Sorry, Kev, the jerseys you say? You just
sorry, mate. Yeah, just with the jerseys you're wearing tomorrow. I understand they're a bit different than normal. And how can people get involved with bidding?
Yeah, definitely. They're a one-off jersey, so all the players will wear them. I've got quite a few Titans playing, so each year we get good support with this. So after the game tomorrow, around 5 o'clock, it'll kick off in the Leagues Club. So jerseys from 1 to 17, where obviously the players wear those jerseys. They'll be up for auction, and hopefully we can raise some good money, and the profit for that will be split between the Alicia Neve Fund and also the National Breast Cancer Foundation.
That's the stuff. Darren Madigan to bring you in, mate.
G'day, Damien. I just noticed the jumpers, the picture that I'm seeing of them, a bit different to normal. They're predominantly white this year instead of the normal pink.
Yeah, look, got pink shorts and pink socks. The idea was we've got the logo, which is the National Breast Cancer Foundation logo, and I guess the pink ribbon. I suppose we look for something different. Where each year we've gone pink, so get close enough to it. It's quite unique. So most of the people that have seen it have liked it. So hopefully, again, we can raise some good money by that unique jersey. This hard work.
Well, I've always said, even from that very first year that we started promoting it for you on the old show at the ABC, it was just it's the one jumper that the Burleigh jumper that seems to work in pink. And I don't think any bloke would have any problem pulling that jumper on, even without the cause. They actually look very, very good. Mate, speaking of causes, there's no question that the pink campaign has been incredibly successful nationwide down through the years. Mate, men's health. Do you guys do something for men's health during the year as well?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, it's funny. We did do one a year or so ago, and it's something we probably want to embrace more. I guess there's lots of pink jerseys and women in rugby league and also for the breast cancer awareness. But look, it's probably something that men probably need to embrace more. So we haven't got anything planned this year, but it has been talked about. So we may do something next year where we can again try and promote awareness and raise some money for men's cancer.
Well, rest assured, we'll give you plenty of coverage on this show, mate. Not a problem.
That's great.
Mate, and also for the game tomorrow, as you said before, it is the TV game. There's plenty happening around the ground. There's some other games happening as well. Just fill us in on what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah, look, we've got a full day of rugby league. The Intrust Super Cup kicks off at 2 o'clock against Central Queensland. Our under-20s are playing against Toowoomba at 12:15, and then there's a women's game at 10:30. The Burleigh Bears, we have a women's rugby league team, which there's not a lot of awareness, I suppose, about that, but these guys are actually winning the Brisbane competition. There's a couple of Australian representatives in there that are heading off to the UK in a month's time to play for the Chillaroos. So, look, if anyone wants to see women's rugby league, it's great. Those guys, they play a good brand of rugby league, so you'd probably be quite impressed if you got down and had a look at those guys. They kick off at 10:30.
Absolutely. It's a great day of family there down there for $10 entry. You get plenty of rugby league down there. Just on the game itself, mate, Burleigh last week, in the Intrust Super Cup, very strong against Redcliffe, unlucky to walk away with the draw in the end. How's the feeling in the camp of coming into this one, heading up against Central Queensland into the back half of the season?
Yeah, look, as you said, Kevin, it was a tough game. Burleigh hadn't actually won a game at Redcliffe since 2005, so actually get a point. Everyone come away pretty positive after the result. I mean, there's been some very close games this year. We won a few of those games that were close. We might be sitting a little bit higher, but it is what it is. And realistically, we've got to really start in this month to string a few together. Otherwise, we're really going to be struggling to push for the playoffs. So, yeah, big game tomorrow against Central Queensland. They're on the same amount of points as us. It won't be an easy game, but the boys are pretty confident.
You mentioned before, mate, you've got a few Titans players playing for you guys tomorrow, and of course, there have been a few blokes who have played for Burleigh who've also played for the Titans this year, guys like Anthony Don, Makawani, Sam Irwin. Who's pulling on the jersey tomorrow?
Yeah, look, Jordan Rankin, he'll line up for us. We've also Shane Gray comes back. He made his debut last week, obviously for the Titans, and the other guys. So Jordan Atkins is playing in the team, and Steve Michaels. So in one way, it's quite good we haven't got too many come back because the team's settled. So we've gone from one week into the next where we don't have to make too many changes. So there's 5 of those guys playing tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about all that stuff after the break, but just keep an eye on it. There's a very young halves pairing there. Tyler Chadburn, Jacob Grant, mate. For me, as a guy I've been involved with the Bycroft Cup level the last couple of years, these are 2 guys that have really been standouts, and last week in particular, they really stood up for the club.
Mate, look, yeah, you're right. Jacob obviously was part of the A-grade premiership winning side last year, and he sort of had to wait for an injury this year to get his chance, but he's been fantastic. His kicking game is great, and it's probably taken some heat off other players with his kicking game. Obviously, a really important part of the game. And Tyler, he started the season well. He's only 19, and we forget that he played for Balambal as a 16-year-old. 2 or 3 years ago when they went to the finals. So he's been around for a while, even though he's only still 19. But he's a great prospect. He's probably the most talented natural player at the club. I'd say he's instinctive and he's definitely a threat with the ball.
Yeah, he's a guy I've been a big fan of for a few years. Since that first year he played first grade in Burleigh, took him to a grand final. He was dead set the best player at 17. So keep an eye on him for Burleigh Bears supporters. Damon, we'll let you go, mate. Thank you very much for being here with us today. I know the luncheon went well yesterday. Fingers crossed the Pink Day goes well again tomorrow. So best of luck with that. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks very much, guys.
No worries, mate. We'll catch you next time. We'll take a break here on Sports Scene. When we come back, we'll go through some tips in the rugby league world, so stay with us.
Life. Life is for living. So live it. Life. Life is for giving. So give it. Giving blood is cool. Needing it isn't. Red Cross. Give a little. Life is for living. Life is for giving. Help save lives. Please give blood.
101 FM.
This is Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 9:45. Your next fresh news update coming up at the top of the hour. Reminder, each Tuesday morning during Morning Magazine, Terry Lindsay from our sponsor Technology Training Group answers your questions on all matters regarding computer technology. If you'd like him to give you the right advice, then email your question to techtraingroup@outlook.com, techtraingroup@outlook.com, or phone Terry on 1300 136 679, 1300 136 679. Each week a lucky person will receive a free lesson valued at $55. Kevin Braysher, Ethan James, Darren Madigan, Lee Hanatscheck, Craig Crowley, all here with you. Big thanks to Damien Driscoll, Burleigh Bears CEO. We just got off the line with him for their Pink Day tomorrow, so hopefully all goes well there for the Bears. It will be the TV game. Ethan, how about a tip on that one? We're going to shoot through some tips for the QRL and the NRL quickly, but a tip for that one, Burleigh up against Central Queensland.
Yeah, it's hard to look past Burleigh there. They've got, of course, a few Titans players in the side at home. It's a big day for them, so yeah, backing Burleigh to get the 2 points there.
They were very good last week, Burleigh. I think they found something. They didn't make many changes. A few guys would have been available, guys like Ioane in this, and they haven't made those changes because I really think they found something last week in that combination. They dug deep. We're unlucky to come away with the draw last week. I think they'll definitely win tomorrow afternoon. Shoot through the rest of the round, mate. Ipswich Jets up against the Sunny Coast Sea Eagles. North Ipswich Reserve. That's this afternoon at 3 p.m.
Yeah, the Jets looking for 7 wins in a row. They've been in terrific form lately. Sunshine Coast down towards the end of the ladder. It's hard to see anything other than Ipswich here. Their defence is just too strong at the moment.
Mackay Cutters, man, up against the Redcliffe Dolphins. That's at Virgin Australia Stadium tonight, 6 p.m.
Yeah, Redcliffe still sitting outside the top 5. Mackay sort of on the fringe of the 5. Cutters at home. I'm liking them.
Yeah, the Redcliffe last week, they were slow out of the blocks. There was a big win down there that disadvantaged them in the first half, but they fought back well. Petro Sivanasiva was great, played 80 minutes and was outstanding. I was excited to see him run around, still looks good. Maybe we can pull him in, talk him into an Origin game. We need another prop. But they were great in the second half there, so Redcliffe will be dangerous, but I think Mackay at home probably too strong. Northern Pride up against the Tweedhead Seagulls at Barlow Park. That's tonight as well, 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, the Pride got up over East last week in the TV game. It was close for the majority of the match. They scored a few tries late. I'm liking the look of their backline. They just got speed and footwork to burn there, and a few strong forwards as well. So, yeah, liking the Pride there up north.
Agree, hard to look past them. The East Tigers up against the Wynnum Manly Seagulls, Langlands Park tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m.
Tradition. Yeah, the local derby there. They're always good matches, regardless of where those two teams are on the ladder. Local rivals, of course. Tigers have switched Eddie Tatali to fullback. He played a bit with the Canterbury under-20s, prolific try scorer. I reckon he'll spark the side from there, and I'm going to tip a bit of an upset and go with East.
There he goes again every week.
Bit sentimental. Top
of the ladder now in the QRL, the Intrust Super Cup, the Northern Pride, the Ipswich Jets, Wynnum Manly Seagulls, South Logan, and then the Mackay Cutters. That brings up the top 5 there in the Queensland Cup, the Intrust Super Cup as it's now known in the competition. Look, we'll take a very quick break here on Sports Scene. When we come back, we'll talk all things. We've got some netball and some French Open tennis to discuss, so stay with us on Sports Scene.
Hi, this is Eric Banner, patron of the Australian Childhood Foundation. There were over 300,000 reports of children being abused in Australia last year alone. It's a problem we have to face up to. Child abusers are counting on you to do nothing, but there is something you can do. By going to stopchildabusenow.com.au, you can find out how we can help protect our children. So please, stop doing nothing.
Veterans, their partners and war widows may be eligible to receive assistance from the Department of Veteran Affairs for one-on-one exercise conditioning and or rehabilitation programs with a doctor's referral to an exercise physiologist. Veterans who hold gold or white BVA pension cards and who reside in the Logan City area are encouraged to telephone Rebecca on 0437 542 095 for more information.
There's nothing like the smell of a barbecue. Sausage cooked to perfection with delicious onion or scrumptious bacon with egg on a fresh burger bun. Each month, the team from your station 101 FM cook up at Stormont Office Works on Compton Road to raise funds. Drop in and say hi and support your station. Keep listening for details and like us on Facebook. We're your station, Logan City's 101 FM.
101 FM.
You're listening to Saturday Sports Scene on your station 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 11 minutes to 10. Your next fresh news update coming up at the top of the hour. Before the break, we were talking quickly about some rugby league news there. The computer's been playing up a little bit, so bear with us here. But we will shoot through some tips now for the NRL Round 13. Ethan, the Knights up against the Dragons tonight. That'll be 5:30 p.m. Up in Newcastle.
Yeah, the Knights' form hasn't been great, but I reckon they'll get the win here.
They've signed Craig Gower during the week. 35 years old. Good move, bad move, strange move.
Desperate move, perhaps. Bennett not obviously trusting his playmaking stocks there at either
Badiris and Gidley gone. Yeah,
that's it. So they're obviously they're looking for a bit of cover. Whether or not he can, up to NRL standards, another thing, but we'll see how he goes.
I guess we will. The Cowboys up against the Bulldogs up there in North Queensland, 7:30 p.m. The Cowboys, can they finally click?
We've been waiting for all rounds of the NRL this season. I'm not going to wait anymore. I'm going to say Canterbury are going to get it.
I can't tip the Cowboys either. I've got to go with the Doggies on that one. I've given up on, well, not given up, but I'm sick of making excuses for them, put it that way. The Panthers up against the West Tigers tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m.
Yeah, I have to say Penrith could be a high-scoring one. Haven't they been amazing?
They have come on in the last few weeks, haven't they? The attitude of that club.
It's all about Gus.
It's ridiculous. That's it.
He's found the magic there, Gus. Whatever he's done, they've been great in recent weeks. Also, tomorrow afternoon, the Warriors up against the Sea Eagles, mate.
Yeah, Warriors absolutely trounced Brisbane last week, which means they're probably going to have an absolute shocker this week, so I'm going Manly.
It's hard to tip against Manly. Manly's still without Brett Stewart, though, so I reckon a sneaky one. I reckon the Warriors get up at home in that one. The Storm up against the Sharks tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, of course, the Storm, big three, all backing up from Origin. Remains to see how that affects them. Cronulla have got a few backing up as well. Down in Melbourne, though, I'm going to say the Storm.
I'll tip the Storm as well. And the final one of the round, the Raiders at home to the Broncos Monday night. The Broncos, very poor last week. Can they bounce back against a strong Raiders side?
The good old bounce-back factor. It's cold, Canberra, chilly, Monday night. I'm liking the Raiders.
Yeah, I can't tip the Broncos in that one, sadly. No. The Gold Coast Titans have the bye, as do the South Sydney Rabbitohs. All right, we'll move away from the rugby league world now. Darren Madigan, it's time to talk a little bit of netball. Fill us in, mate, what's happening in the state league scene and the ANZ Championship.
All right, just before we go on to the state league, the state age championships are being played at Ipswich this weekend. So get out and support the girls from about 13 years right through to 18 years old as well. So state age championships, teams from all across Queensland from today right through to Monday as well. So get on down to the Ipswich Netball Association and support them. Excuse me. As far as the State League is concerned, last weekend we had the McDonald Steel Cats 65 up over the Logan Wildcats 39, a big win there in Townsville. Jaggies went down to the Tigers 58-29, a result not entirely unexpected, but probably the margin was a bit unexpected, I think, on that one. Brisbane West Lions 39 went down to the Cougars 58. This weekend we have already seen on Wednesday night the Cougars and the EDS play a 45-all draw at the Logan Metro, so a thrilling match there. Tonight we have the Golden South Jags make the trip up to Townsville to play the Townsville Steel Cats. That's at 7 o'clock tonight. And at the State Netball Centre, 2 games at 7 o'clock on the different courts. We've got the Brisbane West Lions playing the Logan Wildcats and the Suncoast Lynx playing the Carina Leagues Club Tigers as well. And I can tell you now, I just had a quick look at Facebook before the Golden South site, and just with the rugby league connection there, the girls from the Golden South have managed to get a great big team photo with Petro Civoniceva there on site. So if you're a friend of theirs on Facebook, go and take a look at it. It's the girls are obviously wrapped with that one. As far as the ANZ Championship is concerned, last weekend we saw wins to the Adelaide Thunderbirds over the Swifts, the Melbourne Vixens a good win over the Queensland Firebirds, Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic defeated the Southern Steel, and the Central Pulse beat the Tactics, and the Fever and the Mystics had a bye. This weekend we have the Melbourne Vixens playing the New South Wales Swifts. I've got no problems on that one, picking that one. That's the Melbourne Vixens for sure. The Adelaide Thunderbirds and the Central Pulse will pick up a couple of cheap points as they have the bye. And the TV game on SBS2 tomorrow at around about midday, the West Coast Fever will be playing the Firebirds. Southern Steel are at home to the Tactics tomorrow evening, and on Monday night we have the Mystics playing the Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic. Current ladder as at the moment is the Adelaide T-Birds there on 20 points, leading the competition from the Vixens. Yeah, they're doing well. And the Firebirds sitting in third spot from the Magic on 12 points. Just outside on percentage, we see the Pulse, the Steel, the Fever, the Swifts, the Tactics, and the Mystics. But once again, if you're a friend of the Golden South Jags on Facebook, go and check out the photo, because they're virtually falling all over Petro Civoniceva there to get that photo, and it looks fantastic. So that's your netball news for this week.
The Redcliffe Dolphins player, Petro?
The one and only.
The one
and only. I tell you what, to be honest, if I had a photo with Petro, I'd be falling all over him too. I love the man, so I don't blame him at all. It's 5 minutes.
Man crush.
5 minutes to 10 here on SportzScene. We're going to wind up the show, talk some French Open. Both the finals taking place this weekend. We'll start with the women's final. Ethan, we got pretty much as expected with the women's final. Serena Williams up against Maria Sharapova. She prevailed in that Shazza versus Azza semi-final there.
Are you stealing my tweet there, Kevin? You're stealing my tweet.
I've been saying that for ages, and we're on the same wavelength. Who are you tipping? It's Serena up against Maria Sharapova.
Yeah.
Go Shazza.
Go Shazza? No,
Yeah.
You've been waiting 2 hours to say that, haven't you?
Yeah, no, in terms of the tennis, Williams has been absolutely dominating.
Yeah.
She won her semi-final love and won, which is just remarkable.
Yeah.
Is that Cesar?
That's Willow. Can we call it Willow? I don't know. But yeah, hard to pick. It should be a good match. Top two seeds. Williams' physical presence on clay, she's just too strong, so I'm gonna tip her.
I tend to think the same way. Darren, how do you see this one going down the final?
Yeah, Serena, you know, she hits the ball with spin as well. She has a B game as well as an A game. She is an absolute out-and-out champion. I'm a bit surprised to see Maria get this far, simply because she's never been that confident with her footing on clay, but she's through now. Serena's hardly lost any games. Getting through to this stage of the tournament, and to nearly have a double bagel semi-final against Irani, that's just, you don't see that at the top level that often. So Sharapova 6-1, 2-6, 6-4 over Azarenka. I'm tipping obviously Serena to win. I think Maria just hits the ball too flat. And if you're a flat hitter of the ball on clay, you just have much less error. You got less margin for error to play with. So I think Serena's going to do it comfortably.
I tend to think the same. I think, as you say, Ethan, I think Serena's probably just going to overpower her. And when Serena plays her best tennis, there's no one who can touch her. She's the best in the world by a mile, I think. It's Serena Williams. I think she'll win another Grand Slam title. In the men's, another one. Rafa Nadal, he's beaten Novak Djokovic overnight. He is now 58 from 59.
Incredible.
At the French Open. It's unbelievable. He just does not lose there at Roland Garros.
He's lost one.
He's lost one. Did he retire?
And he withdrew due to injury.
He did withdraw.
No one's legitimately beat him in the French Open ever.
It's amazing.
Soderling knocked him off. That was the only loss that he's had.
We've got a bit of belly, and Ethan's looking going, is that right?
It was the same game.
We'll do a reset, I don't know.
But the point is, he comes up against another Spaniard in the final, making his first Grand Slam final appearance. Darren, David Ferrer, how's he going to go up against the greatest clay court player of all time?
I think he's going to lose, to put it bluntly. Nadal's had his obligatory 4 or 5 hour semi-final leading into a final. It seems to be a common occurrence for him. We have given all the technical reasons over the last few weeks why Nadal is going to win this tournament. None of that changes. I think Ferrer is still the best player on tour not to have won a slam yet, but I'm not sure that he's ready. And I don't think he's going to be ready on clay against Nadal.
As you alluded to, Darren, we've talked about all the technical reasons, but Ethan, the biggest thing with Rafa is that he's never, ever beaten mentally.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And the fact that he's coming back from that knee injury, he's still got strapping on the knee, so he wouldn't be back to 100% fitness yet, and just his mental tenacity is just absolutely remarkable. And we talk about his record at the French, and we talk about some of the players that he's up against, like Federer, who'll probably go down as the greatest player of all time. Like, Federer can't beat him on clay. He's remarkable.
He is unbelievable. He's amazing. And he is my sure thing tip of the week is that Rafa Nadal. I'm going to get him early.
Easy option there.
Early. He's my sure thing tip of the week for to get the win this weekend. Rafa Nadal to win the French Open and take home his 8th. It's amazing. An eighth time he'll win that that Grand Slam. We'll go around now. Darren, what about you? What's a sure thing for you this week?
Yeah, I have to agree with you, but since you've already taken the men's, I'll take Serena for the girl. That's the sure thing.
That's it. Craig, what about you, mate?
Well, without doubt, the English cricketers will absolutely destroy the Australian cricket side.
That's very solemn there, but I have to agree. What about you, Ethan?
I'm going the other way there, Craig. He's going to call me a lunatic, but I'm going to say Australia, bounce back, beat the English over there in the Champions Trophy.
And round us up. Lee doesn't like that one, but round us up.
I thought my call was good. Gold Coast to beat North Melbourne.
I like that one. That's a good one. That'll be a good game tonight, I think.
I've got one more. I think Ethan's a lunatic.
And that's a sure thing everywhere. That's a good note to leave it on. It's been a great show this morning. Thanks for listening. We'll be back same time next week. Bye.